This is Eternis, the blade of the first prince, and he arrives on the battlefield in a bolt of black lightning. Does that sound familiar? You know how during the Nova reveals for AOS, we said that there was one particular Chaos Chosen warrior who looked quite a bit like just a Stormcast Eternal? Well, that is literally what this is this time round. This is Eternis, and he really is pretty much just a Stormcast Eternal. Serving Bellicor with his particularly angry-looking horse, that is possibly one of the most messed up horses I think I've ever seen. The overall shape is right, but then there's far too many teeth, and they're extremely pointy, and the hooves are claws, and the tail is way too long, and it looks like it's been designed to stab people. It's just all around a wrong... It's just a wrong horse. Eternis himself has got a little bit of suggestion there as to the fact that he serves Bellicor. He's got the subtle markings, we remember, that show that he is serving the first prince in the form of a massive demon face on his shoulder, a demon face on his chest, the fact that his horse has a demonic face of its very own, and a bit of demonic face coming out of its armour at the front. So we can tell what the deal is with this chap. And to be honest, overall, I quite like it. It is a bit busy. There's a lot going on. I would suggest too many spikes on Eternis himself. We've got 3 spikes across the chest, we've got a spike on each shoulder pad, we've got multiple spikes on the helmet going along the top like a crest, and then we've got extra spikes coming along the side. I just feel like that's too many. I know it's Chaos, right? Chaos loves spikes. Chaos, all about the spikes. Can't get enough of them. Spikes everywhere. But sometimes if you have just 1 or 2 too many spikes, you end up with a really messy looking, confused kind of like silhouette to it. And I worry that is the case with this particular lad, to be honest. The thing is that I kind of feel a bit bad saying that, because I actually really like the design. Like, the armour looks really cool. The armour does look really cool. I just feel like there's a bit too much going on. I especially like the 2, like, kind of flagpole things, whatever those are called, like the banners that are coming out of the back of the armour. That is actually a really nice touch. I like that a lot. That's quite distinctive. That's quite a cool element to have on this character. I think that's really well implemented. I think the problem is that it becomes a bit messy from certain angles. Now, this could be one of those models where as soon as you turn it round, it's like, oh, actually no, it's not too bad. Like, it makes more sense from one angle than another. But my gut instinct is that there's just a little bit too much in the way of traditional chaos spikage going on. I love his weapon. The weapon is solid. That is a quality weapon. I also love the way it's painted as well. That's really, really nice. It looks big, it looks hefty, it looks brutal. The fact you've got this kind of long curved blade that also has that kind of serrated edge on it. It just looks really nasty, and I really, really like that. The armour on the horse is really nice. It's really nice. That big demonic face on the front, I think that looks pretty cool. Again, the way they've painted it does help a lot. It looks awesome. I think there's an overall presence to this model, like an overall feel, an overall intimidation factor that works super, super well. It's got all the right kind of hallmarks of a really significant, really strong character, but there's just a bit too much going on around the edges, which kind of blurs it for me a bit. So Eternis was once one of Archaon's Varangard, and then he renounced him, and then he was chucked into the lightning-racked, cursed skies that swirl with the souls of slain Stormcast Eternals, unable to return to Azir, and then he was burned alive by the divine lightning, only to be revived by Bellicor, who breathed those trapped souls into him. Sure, nice bit of exposition there. Basically, he does what they do. He now arrives in a big bolt of black lightning, and yeah, as is standard with these sort of chaos contracts, he's fine until he starts falling behind, at which point Bellicor can just get rid of him, so he just keeps fighting people and murdering people to keep Bellicor satisfied. You know, your standard chaos approach to things. Got some nice close-ups from different angles here, and actually this kind of illustrates what I was thinking with the spikes and the horns and stuff. You know what? From that angle, that is nowhere near as messy. Like, that actually works better from that angle. The spikes coming out the shoulder pads and the head and the chest, and then you've got the two banner poles at the back. It doesn't look anywhere near as cluttered from this angle. It's got more of a kind of standard silhouette for a mounted character. I think it is just a case of, depending on the angle, it can look a bit overdone, but then as soon as you turn it, and as soon as you get to see it from a different point of view, it actually kind of resolves itself a bit. this is, I feel like, quite a good example of that, because that, to me, from that angle, that does not look anywhere near as complicated and excessively over the top in terms of decoration, in terms of how busy it is, as it does from the other angle, from the picture further up. So I think that kind of illustrates it pretty well. I'm liking it more from this angle, I guess. Also means we get to see how big the haft of that kind of glaive axe is. And you know what? I actually quite like the fact that it's not as long as I thought it was. I thought it was one of those like ridiculous ones where it's longer than the person holding it. It's not. That makes it look a bit more manageable to my eye. Of course, it's still ridiculous. The blade is still like the length of his entire torso and then some. But the fact that it's not like almost lance length, that kind of makes it, well, I say lance length, actually it probably is, isn't it? But it just, I don't know, the proportions are better than I thought they would be. Get a nice front view of that Be'lakor face as well, which, again, I really like. That looks really cool. And that horse's face is absolutely horrific. Nightmarish. Terrible. Look at the teeth. Oh my god, look at the teeth. That is just awful. Really nicely done. I like it a lot. Because he's got a bit of the Stormcast nonsense going on, if he dies, he has a chance to come back. Because he has veins of black lightning. So, yeah, not surprising really, is it, that? Overall, I think pretty solid. Definitely improves depending on the angle from which you view him. Maybe still not a fan of the spikes coming out of the chest necessarily, but the rest of it, having seen it from a different angle, I'm actually okay with. Yeah, I think that's a pretty cool character. It's very, very over the top. Very like cover of a heavy metal album, but that's fine because I would buy that album. Question is, what do you think of Eternis? Let me know in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things. Patreon, video, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like, don't click if you don't want to. And as always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel if you'd like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.